This right here is a matte box. Specifically, this is the SmallRig Mini Matte Box. I'm going to talk about 3 practical reasons and 1 bonus reason why you might want to consider adding one to your camera setup. Now, the first reason you might want to consider picking up a matte box is for protection. So basically, this matte box is mounted to the front of the lens via these lens ring adapters to fit the size of the box, and the biggest benefit that you have having one of these on the front of your camera is purely for protection. When you're not using the camera, simply put the flag down and the front of your lens is going to be safe from anything, liquid, debris, anything that is going to possibly damage the front of your lens. Now, the second reason, and probably the most common reason why you see these matte boxes on Hollywood cameras, if you've seen any sort of behind the scenes on movies, TV programs, anything like that, and you've seen the camera operator, you're more than likely going to see a matte box on the front of the camera. So what this flag on the front here does is prevents light from hitting the lens and causing unwanted lens flares. You simply adjust how much you need, or you can remove it completely using this little thumb screw here. That's just used to tighten the flag once it's in place. The third reason you might want to consider adding a matte box is so that you can put filters in front of your lens. Typically, round filters come in different sizes. Therefore, if you're using a different lens, you would have to have that filter for that specific filter thread on the lens, or you'd have to get more lens ring adapters to fit each lens that you have. But simply putting on a matte box, you can use square or rectangular filters across. They just slip in here. By removing this, you can put the filters in and then slide it back into place. So this mini matte box takes 4 by 5.65 inch filters. So you can get not just ND filters, but you can also get things like diffusion that's going to soften the image and bloom the highlights for a really nice effect. But the advantage of the SmallRig mini matte box, such as this one, is inside here you can still thread on circular filters. So if you have a variable ND filter, for example, or simply a UV filter for further protection for the lens, you can still mount that in the circular portion of the matte box, and also have the rectangular filters on the front here. The fourth bonus reason why you might want to consider picking up a matte box is simply because it looks so much more professional than not having one on the camera. I mean, if you are being paid by a client to shoot a video and you turn up with this, you look the part, you look serious, and you can in turn potentially charge more money to that client compared to if you just turn up with a camera that looks unprofessional, basically. With this, you can rig it out onto a cage. You get your matte box, full focus monitor, top handle, microphone. It all just adds to a more professional looking camera system that is going to give confidence to your clients that you know what you are doing when you're taking these videos. Even though we can probably get just as good results without all the bells and whistles such as the matte box and the microphone, it's just going to give that confidence in whoever is paying you money that they have employed someone who knows what they're doing and they look the part, and it just looks great. Look at that. So you're actually going to get 2 boxes when you buy the SmallRig mini matte box, and inside here obviously is going to be the matte box itself, which I'll show you. So it's actually a very well designed box as well, quite stylish. So once we pop out the matte box, underneath here everything's got nice little tabs to make it easy access to get in and out of everything in here. You're going to find these adapter rings. So there's 4 adapter rings under here, and these are like the the bigger sized adapter rings for your cinema style lenses. So they start at 67mm going up to 82mm. So the matte box itself is on a 95mm thread, so these adapt everything up to 95mm. That's to accommodate the biggest of lenses that are out there. And inside the smaller box, that's going to provide you with even more, 5 more filter rings in here, and that's to accommodate some of the smaller sizes. So an instance of the lens I'm using actually is a 52mm thread, and that's going to convert that from 52mm all the way up to 95mm with a single ring. If for whatever reason your filter ring is, your filter thread size isn't included in here, they're easily available on Amazon, and that's what's in the box. Why is it mini, and why is that important? Well, traditionally these matte boxes can set you back anywhere between £200 and up to around £10,000 depending on the style of camera they are going to be put on. Some cinema cameras can be absolutely massive and therefore require a massive matte box. The problem is, if you were to put one of those matte boxes on one of these small mirrorless cameras, it's going to look ridiculous for a start, but potentially it could be too heavy for the lens, putting a lot of strain on the lens mount and the camera itself, which could lead to damaging the camera, and no one wants that. So there's 2 styles of matte boxes traditionally. You get the ones that mount onto the lens, such as this one here, via the wee thumb screw here, just tightens up and goes onto the lens adapter on the front of the lens. Or you could have the other style, which attaches to a rod and rail system. If you imagine this rod here extending along, and the matte box would actually attach onto the rods, which would take the stress and pressure away from the lens and the camera body. So this is a lens mounted matte box, which means it needs to be lightweight so that it's not adding any extra pressure to the lens mount, as I mentioned before. So I really like the style of this. It is very lightweight, easy to operate, and like I say, it takes the filters on the inside and the slide-on filters. The only thing I'm not too particularly keen on with this particular matte box is this thumb wheel here for tightening and loosening the matte box to get it off the lens. I feel can sometimes be quite fiddly and often slips on the thread a wee bit, which makes it quite tricky to tighten up at times or to take off the lens. A couple of added extra things to note about this lens are there are mounting points on the top here if you wanted to add any extra accessories, keeping in mind that the SmallRig system has generally covered in all these mounting holes for attaching anything you want really. I'm not too sure what you would add to the top of here, because again, anything that you add on top is going to create extra weight and extra stress on the lens mount, so I would be quite mindful of what you put on here, if anything. Now if you were, however, going to mount things there, they have got you covered, because there's an attachment here on the bottom there, which allows you to attach a rod adjustment. So if you did have a rod system in place, you could use that there for further support to protect your lens mount of the camera, which is a really great idea, and just gives you extra options and more versatility if you're rigging this out even bigger. So this is a great little system for anyone that's looking to protect their lens, get the benefits of the square filters for a more consistent look across your footage without having to swap out different sized filters for all your different lenses. Just slip one in here and you're good to go. It's going to, you know, look cool on the camera, provide reassurance to your clients, potentially letting you charge some more money. That's always a good thing. So if you like these kind of reviews, leave a like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. It won't cost you anything. I've left a link below to the matte box in the description box below if you want to check one out for yourself. But that is it for today's video, and I will see you in the next one. This is where I should do the Peter McKinnon on that lens. See ya.